Salve omnes. My name is Magistra Abelseth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about nouns in Latin as an overview. First of all, which words are nouns? What's a noun? Well, the word noun comes from the Latin word nomen, meaning name. The name of a person, like Cornelius or Aurelia. The name of a place, like Roma or Italia. The name of a thing, like poculum, a cup, or penna, a pen or a feather. The name of an idea, celeritas, swiftness or speed, and prudentia, wisdom. Let's practice identifying types of nouns. Remember, these will be a person, a place, a thing, or an idea. Take a few minutes, pause the video, and identify each of these nouns. Virginia, Augustus, Stola, tarditas, slowness, Marcus, Flavia, ingenium, intelligence, ars, skill, liber, book, and schola, school. Here are the answers. Virginia is the name of a place. Augustus is the name of a person. Stola is a thing. Tarditas is an idea. Marcus is the name of a person. Flavia is the name of a person. Ingenium is an idea. Ars is also an idea. Liber is a physical thing, a thing. Schola can be a place if you're talking about that you're going to go to school. It can be a thing if you're talking about the school as an object, like the school building as an object, or it can be an idea, the concept of learning in school as a theory. The name of a person applies only to a person. A place is a location. And the difference between a thing and an idea is that a thing is a physical object that you can reach out and touch, while an idea is something that's intangible. You can't reach out and touch it, but it's not a person and it's not a place. Let's review. What's a noun? A noun is a type of word. Nouns are people, places, things, and ideas. One noun can belong to more than one category, depending on how it's being used in a sentence. And now let's talk about what nouns can do. They can be subject nominative and direct object accusative. Let's look at some examples. Magistra graphidum tenet. The teacher holds the pencil. Graphidus magistram tenet. The pencil holds the teacher. If we were going to draw pictures of these sentences, they would look very different. In the first sentence, magistra graphidum tenet, magistra is responsible for the action, and graphidum is moved or changed by the action. The word magistra here is a subject nominative, and the word graphidum here is a direct object accusative. In the second sentence, graphidus magistram tenet, the graphidus is responsible for the action, and the magistram is moved or changed by the action. So in the second example, the graphidus is the subject nominative, and the magistram is the direct object accusative. In English, we use word order to express these ideas. So in English, for the first sentence, we would say the teacher holds the pencil, and the teacher comes before the verb, and the pencil comes after the verb. In the second sentence, the pencil holds the teacher, the pencil comes before the verb, and the teacher comes after the verb. So in English, we would use word order to express the difference in these two sentences. In Latin, word order doesn't actually matter that much. It's how you spell the words that makes the difference. Looking at the examples under the first sentence, magistra with an A on the end, graphidum, UM, tenet. As long as you don't change the way you spell those words, you can put them in whatever order you want, and it still means the teacher is holding the pencil. Graphidum magistra tenet, the teacher holds the pencil. Tenet graphidum magistra, the teacher holds the pencil. Tenet magistra graphidum, the teacher holds the pencil. It's all the same in translation. The second example, graphidus, US, magistram, AM, tenet. Now the spelling is different, so we have a different sentence. Now the pencil holds the teacher. But again, we can put these words in whatever order we want, and the translation in English is still the same. Magistram, graphidus, tenet, the pencil holds the teacher. Tenet, magistram, graphidus, the pencil holds the teacher. Tenet, graphidus, magistram, the pencil holds the teacher. Here's another thing nouns can do. Possessive, partitive, and objective. These are all examples of what's called the genitive case. Graphidus magistri, the pencil of the teacher. This is the pencil that the teacher possesses. Graphidus primus sarcinae, the first pencil of the pack. This is a partitive genitive. This is a pencil that is part of a pack of pencils. Acutor graphidorum. This is an objective genitive. The graphidorum, the pencils, are the object of the acutor, the sharpener of pencils. Let's look at some visuals. Graphidus magistri, the pencil of the teacher, possessive. Graphidus primus sarcinae, the first pencil of the pack, partitive. Auctor graphidorum, sharpener of pencils, objective. In the first example, graphidus magistri, the magistri possesses or owns the graphidum. In the second example, graphidus primus sarcinae, the graphidus is one part of the sarcinae. In the third example, acutor graphidorum, the acutor moves or changes the graphidos. Here's another thing nouns can do. They can be dative indirect object as opposed to an accusative direct object. Here are some examples. Magistra graphidum discipulae dat. The teacher gives the pencil to the student. Discipula graphidum magistrae dat. The student gives the pencil to the teacher. Magistrae discipulam graphido dat. And the teacher gives the student to the pencil. Let's look at some visuals. The teacher gives the pencil to the student. The student gives the pencil to the teacher. And the teacher gives the student to the pencil. In the first example, magistra graphidum discipulae dat. Discipula benefits from the action of the magistra. So that word, discipulae, is the dative indirect object. Meanwhile, the graphidum, the pencil, is moved by the action of the magistra. So the graphidum is the accusative direct object. In the second example, discipula graphidum magistrae dat. The student gives the pencil to the teacher. The magistra, the teacher, benefits from the action of the discipula, the student. That makes the magistrae the dative indirect object. Meanwhile, the graphidus is moved by the action of the discipula. The pencil is moved by the action of the discipula. That makes the graphidum the accusative direct object. And in the third example, magistra discipulam graphido dat. The graphidus benefits from the action of the magistra. That makes the graphido the dative indirect object. The discipula is moved by the action of the magistra, like physically moved from not with the pencil to with the pencil. So the discipulam is the accusative direct object. Here's another thing nouns can do. Accusative place to which, ablative place from which, and ablative place where. These are about directions. Magistra ad discipulam ambulat. The teacher walks toward the student. Discipula ab magistra ambulat. The student walks away from the teacher. Magistra in machina cartarum saltat. The teacher dances on the copy machine. And our visuals. The teacher walks toward the student walks away from the teacher, and the teacher dances on top of the copy machine. In our first example, magistra ad discipulam ambulat. The teacher walks toward the student. Ad discipulam, toward the student, is the place to which the magistra ambulat. Toward the student is the place to which the teacher is walking. In this case, The student, normally this would be a noun that happens to be a person rather than an object or a place or a thing. A student is a person. But grammatically, how this word is being used in the sentence, the student now becomes a location. So one important thing to keep in mind is that when you're thinking about nouns, and they can be a person, a place, a thing, or an idea, a person, a place, a thing, or an idea, any one of them can be a location grammatically in the sentence. In our second example, discipula ab magistra ambulat. The student walks away from the teacher. Ab magistra is the place from which the student begins walking. The student walks away from the teacher. In this case, the teacher is the location away from which the student walks. And our third example, magistra in machina cartarum saltat. In machina is the place where the teacher is dancing. We use the accusative case for place to which, ad discipulam. We use the ablative case for place from which, ab magistra, and we use the ablative case for place where, in machina. Sometimes you'll see the word in used with both the accusative and the ablative. When you see the word in with the accusative, in machinam, for example, it means into the machine. If you see the word in with the ablative, in machina, it means on the copy machine. All right, let's talk some more about the ablative. Ablative of cause, ablative of accompaniment, and ablative of means. Discipula scribit magistra. The student writes about the teacher. Or because of the teacher. Because of the teacher. This is cause. Magistra scribit cum discipula. The teacher writes with the student, accompanying the student, or the student accompanying the teacher. Magistra scribit graffido. The teacher writes with a pencil, by means of the pencil. And graffidus scribit magistra, the pencil writes with the teacher. Let's look at our visuals. Discipula scribit magistra. Magistra scribit cum discipula. Magistra scribit graffido. And graffidus scribit magistra. In our first example, discipula scribit magistra, the magistra causes the student to write. The student writes because of the teacher. Magistra scribit cum discipula, our second example. The discipula accompanies the magistra while she writes. In our third example, magistra scribit graffido, the graffido is the means the magistra uses to scribere, to write. So both of those two middle examples, the teacher writes with a student and the teacher writes with a pencil, we use the same phrase in English. Both of them use with in English, but they look different. In Latin, we have two different expressions for when we're doing something in accompaniment to accompany another person versus when we're using a tool to accomplish a task. In Latin, when you're accompanying a person, you use the word cum. In Latin, when you're using a tool to accomplish a task, you're not using the word cum, just an ablative. Our last example, graffidus scribit magistra. The magistra is the means the graffidus uses to scribere. So in this case, the teacher is the tool the pencil uses to accomplish the task. All of these are examples of the ablative case. All right, let's review. What can nouns do? A noun can be responsible for an action as a nominative subject. A noun can be moved or changed by an action as an accusative direct object. A noun can possess something as a genitive of possession, be the whole something is a part of as a partitive genitive, or be an object of another noun as an objective genitive. A noun can benefit from an action as a dative indirect object. And a noun can be a cause as an ablative of cause, an accomplice as an ablative of accompaniment, or a tool as an ablative of means. Noun cases and uses. One more time as an overview. When a noun is responsible for an action, a noun is called a subject nominative. When a noun is moved or changed by an action, that noun is called an accusative direct object. When a noun is possessing something, that noun is called a possessive genitive. When a noun is the whole for a part, that noun is called a partitive genitive. When a noun is the object of another noun, that object noun is called an objective genitive. When a noun benefits from an action, that noun is called a dative indirect object. When a noun is a cause, that noun is called an ablative of cause. When a noun is an accomplice, that noun is called an ablative of accompaniment. And when a noun is a tool, that noun is called an ablative of means. These formulaic phrases are essential for correct translation. Nominative nouns are usually expressed as the noun and are placed before the verb in English. Genitive nouns are usually expressed as of the noun or the nouns with an apostrophe s in English. Dative nouns are usually expressed as to the noun or for the noun in English. Accusative nouns are usually expressed as the noun and are placed after the verb or after a preposition such as toward or into in English. And ablative nouns are usually expressed in phrases like because of the noun, with the noun, by the noun, or from the noun in English. If you memorize these formulas as much as you memorize the spellings of the Latin nouns, you'll be able to translate Latin nouns into English noun phrases correctly 90 to 95% of the time. Let's take a look at what this looks like when we set the Latin and the English side by side. For our chart, we're using the word magistra magistri, which is a feminine noun. We're going to look at all 5 cases: nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and ablative. We'll look at the singular Latin, the singular English, the plural Latin, and the plural English. Nominative singular, magistra, the teacher before the verb. Nominative plural, magistri, the teachers also before the verb. Genitive singular, magistri, of the teacher. Genitive plural, magistrarum, of the teachers. Dative singular, magistri, to or for the teacher. Dative plural, magistris, to or for the teachers. Accusative singular, magistram, after the verb, the teacher. Accusative plural, magistras, after the verb, the teachers. Ablative singular, magistra, long a, by, with, because of, or from the teacher. And ablative plural, magistris, by, with, because of, or from the teachers, plural. You may have noticed that the genitive singular, the dative singular, and the nominative plural are the same in Latin for this particular noun. Dative plural and ablative plural are also the same for this particular noun in Latin. Remember to breathe. Context will help. When you're looking at forms and you have multiple options for how to translate them, the teacher is before the verb, of the teacher, and to or for the teacher, for example, use context. Look at the rest of the sentence, consider the word phrases, use the translation that makes the most sense in that case. You should only be using context when the grammar is ambiguous. If the grammar is clear, if you're looking at magistras, as for example, magistras has to be translated after the verb, the teachers. It cannot be translated before the verb, the teachers. It cannot be translated as of the teacher. Magistras must come after the verb or after a preposition, and it must be translated the teachers or teachers. The cases and uses stay the same between Latin and English. Both Latin and English use the nominative case, the genitive case, the dative case, the accusative case, and the ablative case. If a noun is nominative, it will be the subject. If a noun is not nominative, it cannot be the subject. If a noun is genitive, it'll be a possessive, partitive, or an objective genitive. If a noun is not genitive, it cannot be a possessive, a partitive, or an objective genitive. If a noun is dative, it will be an indirect object. If a noun is not dative, it cannot be an indirect object. If a noun is accusative, it'll be a direct object of a verb, or an object of a preposition, or a place to which. If a noun is not accusative, it cannot be the direct object of a verb, or the object of a preposition, or a place to which. If a noun is accusative, it'll be cause, accompaniment, means, manner, place from which. That's a typo that says place to which. That should say place where. If a noun is not ablative, it cannot be cause, accompaniment, means, manner, place from which, or place where. This should say place where. All right.